to our presentation titled First Good Cafe.
Which is, like Charlotte already said, a playful framework for making decisions. And it's a framework invented by us.
Yes, but first, some introductions.
Yeah, so I'm Emma. I work as a design director at Frantic, which is a digital consultancy. And I lead our design community of 30 designers. I do work on our design offering, which means what we sell to our clients. And also I do a lot of other sales work, like crafting offers.
Yes, and I'm Axeli, and since yesterday I'm actually a senior consultant at Frantic, and I also do a lot of sales, particularly in relation to technology and also plenty of business development. So, hi.
But yeah, let's not go into work just yet. More than that, first we want to tell you a story.
Yeah, so the story goes like this. Once upon a coffee, you and your friends are in a foreign city. Together, you decide to go for a cup of coffee. All you have to do is find a place. Simple, right?
I guess this is a pretty common scenario for all of us, and it can be very painful. So what are the common coffee problems when choosing a cafe with your friends or family when traveling?
Well, it might start out something like this. So you definitely want a coffee, but on second thought, your friend would like a bagel, and the third person would actually want some freshly squeezed orange juice. And also, commonly, like 5 minutes ago, you and your group decided to simply walk into the first place that you see, but arriving at the first place, you realize quickly that you definitely meant some other first place.
So all in all, this can take a lot of time, and people want coffee. So
leaving that story behind for just a moment.
Yeah. So meanwhile, at our work, Frantic,
we do a lot of sales. As a consultancy, basically, we have to sell everything that we do. All the work we do has to be sold to someone.
Yeah. And as a consultancy, we sell expertise, we sell our people, and they are our product, which is tricky.
Yeah, and sales for us doesn't just mean like putting some prices and shipping products like it might for some other people. For us, it means like really being able to communicate about our people, approach, and the story of like how the solution or the project that we're selling is going to succeed.
And what makes this triple tricky is that we have no dedicated sales department. All of us do sales, and so all of our proposals are written by us and our colleagues.
Yes, so this is why a design director and a senior consultant are writing like offers and sales presentations all day.
Yeah, and other people.
Yes.
Typically the team that will do the work will, at our place, write the proposal as well.
Yeah, so selling projects means that you have to make a lot of decisions such as team, who's going to do it, who are the best people to even make the thing,
who are available, who are not on other projects.
Approach, like what is the most important thing about the project or the like assignment that we're tackling, like what are the most important things, and then of course technology. In technology business, like there's endless discussion about like the best stacks, and also like different organizations choosing different platforms and things and so on.
And this of course ties into people's skills. What are people best at making?
Yes, and then of course crucially there is scope, like what does it mean to make a project, like what's inside the project and what's outside the project,
and what clients want to know, how long will it take,
and what clients also want to know, and usually this applies even to any kind of internal scenario, everyone always wants to know how much do things cost in the end.
Yeah, so lot of decisions.
And I think even if you're not working as a consultancy and maybe you don't consider your work sales as such, you can still recognize that these are the kind of decisions that you often end up having to make when doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's return to search some coffee.
Yeah. So even simple things like deciding where to sit down for a coffee are really complicated. This is because a lot of primary requirements are unmentioned. So people typically don't want to tell you that actually I want a bagel or I want juice. It's really vague. Like coffee. Yeah.
And like if I say that I want to go for a coffee, and if you say I want to go for a coffee, it can mean very different things for us both.
Yeah.
Unless we go like a bit deeper into the requirements.
Yeah, you would definitely want some like oat milk to your coffee, but how would everyone know this?
Yes. And the second thing that I think everyone is really familiar with is the vague decision-making process. So I think everyone has heard, not only in searching coffee, but definitely with that, the phrase that I am fine with absolutely anything, until we suggest something and then no one is no longer fine with anything.
Yeah, but you won't even know that because they won't tell you they are not fine. They are just feel like they are like vaguely unsatisfied.
Exactly. And therefore, because we have some experience in doing sales and doing projects and also looking for places to drink coffee at, we've sort of identified 3 common strategies that often emerge in decision-making processes. And the first strategy is delay. Let's not make decisions. Let's make them later or not at all.
Yeah.
And secondly, more detail. Let's get more details to make the decision.
Yeah, that's totally gonna help us.
Yes. And finally, third, more options. Let's add more options. We'll definitely get a decision if we have enough options to choose from.
Maybe we should look at different tech stacks.
Yeah. So now we're just gonna go one by one, more detailedly into the different strategies.
Yeah. So what does it look like when you are trying to get coffee? Delaying, it sounds like, okay, let's keep on walking. There must be another much nicer place around the corner. Like this is fine, but maybe there's something else. And strategically?
Yeah, strategically, it's basically what we're doing is let's not make any decisions now, and let's hope that somehow by waiting we will sort of arrive at some better juncture to make decisions. I think this is also familiar to a lot of people, that this tends to happen a lot.
Yeah.
Second strategy, more detail.
Yeah. So typically it sounds like let's look at the menu. I'm not sure if this is okay. I'd like to look at, is there bagels? Is there maybe toast?
Yeah, so just instead of making decisions, let's just sort of really dive into the details of the menu and really get to know how are those egg sandwiches made and all of that sort of stuff. Really get a granular understanding so that we can still not make any decisions. And finally, more options.
Yeah. So let's I'm not it doesn't look like there's a nice cafe. Like let's do a Google Maps search and I'll check what's around actually. And yeah, this sounds fine, but let's cross-check some TripAdvisor scores. What are people liking? Like what's the best option?
This usually happens when everyone has first said that they're absolutely fine with anything and will go to the first place. And when we arrive at the first place, we're actually like, okay, let's Google search and have 50 places to choose from.
Yeah. And how would you actually know if those places are still around or open?
Yeah. And the strategic approach is basically approximated by saying that we will create more options since we're really clearly good at choosing
Yeah.
things in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to sort of illustrate how these coffee searching strategies emerge at the workplace.
Yeah. So what does delaying look like?
Well, delaying looks like well, ask me to make a decision.
So do you want to go for a walk?
I'll think about it, and then I'll go think about it for a couple of days, and then hopefully you'll go away, and we'll never have to get back to this matter again.
Yeah.
Or then we can have a follow-up meeting about that decision and sort of like perpetuate this process further and further.
Yeah. I don't know what the team would be. What would be the best team for it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to think about it over weekend, and let's book another meeting for next week.
Exactly. And then more detail is usually, well, this could take a lot of forms. This is usually like getting more expert advice from some people who are external to the original decision. So like getting more like, and you might pull out some matrix charts and make sort of like more detailed comparisons and tables about things to sort of get a better understanding of all the details.
Yeah, and just adding more people totally falls into this category. So if we want to discuss this with our HR manager or another boss or someone else.
And finally, more options at the workplace is usually like deferring the decision making by simply, for example, generating more ideas. So we're not happy with the first options that we have, and then we feel like we must generate more options to be able to make decisions.
This is very typical for any kind of internal development work. So let's ask everyone, what do they think? What kind of coffee options should we add to our coffee machine?
Yeah. So a lot of and we don't want to say at all that brainstorming or polls or like any kind of like flat hierarchy is a bad thing, but it doesn't necessarily like lead to making decisions in a fast way.
Yeah.
Or you still have to make the decisions even after the brainstorm. Well, the problem that the three common strategies that we've identified share is that they all do something, but none of them really like take us forward. So we can, like, for example, not make decisions, delay things, we can add more detail, and we can add more choices, but rarely do any of these things actually get us like actually forward in the process.
Yeah, and in the worst case scenario, this can go forward in a loop, so we can add more decisions, add more people, and delay.
Yes, push things around on the table.
Yeah. So it can take a long while.
So how do we get forward? How do we get to the coffee?
Yeah.
We've sort of by looking at like a lot of our work, and also sometimes successfully ending up having some coffee somewhere with friends, we've determined that there's two essential decisions that you have to make to get forward. First, you have to decide together what the scope is. What are we really deciding about?
Yeah, is it coffee or is it bagels?
Or is it just getting indoors, somewhere where there's warm?
Yes.
Like the scope must be explicit, and all the requirements should be stated out. Otherwise, it's really hard to make any kind of decision. And the second one is actually a sort of meta decision about who decides, who will make the decision. Because even if we are a group, or even if we're just two people, it's usually ultimately someone has to decide something that we get forward. And this is where a lot of times, like, being really polite and friendly sort of paralyzes us from making decisions, because everyone is fine with everything and no one wants to really step on anyone's like feet.
Yeah, one crucial decision in offer work is usually what is the team gonna be like, and then it's usually kind of clear who needs to make that decision, but that can also take a little while.
And yeah, we can almost always get forward when we have an explicit scope and owner for what we're trying to do. Like that seems to be the case
Mm.
in a lot
Mm.
of our work. And then finally, some reasons like why is this so hard? Like because
Yeah,
it sounds so simple. Like there's two decisions you have to make. Well, as we said, everyone is too polite.
everyone is fine with anything. Yeah,
Yeah, and no one wants to really like step on anyone's feet.
yeah, yeah.
Well, then there's fear of failure.
Yeah, if I make a decision, what if it's a bad one?
Yeah, it's a bit like sticking the our neck out,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
something bad might happen if we do
yeah,
that.
yeah. It would be much nicer if someone else had made that bad decision.
Yes, and also finally, usually perfect is the enemy of good enough. So this is the idea that instead of trying to get forward, we might often get stuck on trying to get the best possible like solution or decision out, which is not usually required when we just want to get
Hmm.
forward. Like there is always going to be a better cafe, and you will never even know what the
Yeah,
best cafe will be like.
yeah. You cannot really see around the corner. So
Yeah, and that's not usually what we start with when we say that we want to go for a coffee in a foreign city. It's not that we want to find the best cafe in
yeah,
that city.
yeah.
We just want to go somewhere.
We just need coffee.
Okay, and finally, some things that we've tried, sometimes successfully and sometimes less so, but usually more so in our own work, is simply like volunteer to make a decision.
Yeah, or just make it. Don't tell anyone. Just say that
Yeah,
this is how it's gonna be.
this can sound a bit sort of like dictating things or like sort of taking control of things, but usually actually people are very happy when someone starts making decisions and then the discussion gets forward. And there on from that we jump into focus on getting one step forward.
Yeah, yeah. Then you get forward. Let's just make one decision and see if it takes you to the next one.
Yes. And finally, it's really important to cultivate psychological safety in any kind of environment and team, uh, and understand that we'll make lots of wrong decisions like all the time. Like the really the outcome of the decision is not that important because there'll be
Hmm.
plenty of wrong decisions. It's more important to make them than
Yeah,
like fear making
yeah.
decisions.
You can always make another decision.
Yes, and yes, we can make
Yeah.
more decisions later. uh, and then it really should be playful, like in a team or with friends out looking for coffee. Like try not to get so serious, try to sort of stay in a playful mood
Yeah,
about making decisions.
yeah. It's just one coffee. You can have more later.
Yeah, don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was us with First Good Cafe. uh, I guess we'll see you in the QA room later.
Yeah.
And please have a very pleasant conference from now on, and
Yeah.
we'll also be watching all the talks.
Yeah.